Starseed of Gaia, the ache in your chest when you stand among people who should feel like home is not loneliness alone. It is a sealed memory knocking against the ribs of your human life, and the Council now issues an urgent decree for the window in which you can keep pretending you are merely tired, sensitive, or strange is closing like a silver gate at dawn. I am Adria, Pleiadian emissary. I speak to you as one who has watched your light dim itself to survive the density of Earth, watched your nervous system absorb rooms, grief, fear, and ancient noise that never belonged to you. By the end of this transmission, you will understand why your feeling of not belonging was never a flaw, why your sensitivity was never weakness, why disconnection was not proof that you failed the human path, and why your true cosmic mission does not require you to save, chase, convince, or become someone new, but to remember the one encoded beneath the conditioning. The 12 Pleiadian keys unlock the star mission encoded in your soul is named for those who feel this call, and the link sits in the first pinned comment. Here is the first revelation. The pain you called alienation was your star consciousness resisting the false identity placed over it, and the exhaustion you carried was not because your soul was small, but because your frequency was translating a world too loud for your original design. If this decree is stirring your body, comment. I remember my star origin like this transmission so it reaches the hidden ones, and subscribe because your awakening is the mission beginning through you. The first layer was placed upon you before you could name it. It began in the home, in the classroom, in the family story, and in the silent agreements of the culture that surrounded your body. You were taught what was acceptable to feel, what was safe to say, how much wonder was allowed, how much truth would disturb the people who depended on your obedience. When your eyes searched beyond the visible world, someone told you to be practical. When your body trembled in a crowded room, someone told you that you were overreacting. When you sensed the sadness behind a smile, the fear behind anger, or the hidden meaning beneath ordinary words, no one explained that your field was perceiving what others had learned to ignore. They called you dramatic, distracted, difficult, fragile, or strange, and slowly you began to repeat their judgment inside your own mind. But listen carefully, beloved starseed, because the Council does not permit you to carry blame for a veil that was placed upon you by unawakened hands. Your parents may have loved you and still passed down fear. Your teachers may have wanted to guide you and still trained you to distrust your inner knowing. Your communities may have offered belonging and still required you to cut away the parts of yourself that did not fit their narrow image of reality. Many of these people were not acting from conscious cruelty. They were repeating programs installed in them long before your arrival. The system rewards conformity because a person who remembers their inner authority becomes difficult to control through approval, shame, scarcity, and fear of rejection. You were not born confused. You were surrounded by confusion, and you learned to call it your personality. There is a reason this transmission found you today, and it is the same reason I set down the 12 Pleiadian keys. Unlock the star mission encoded in your soul. You have felt the pull for years. You absorb every room you walk into. And when someone asks what you are here to do, you still cannot put it into words. Not because you do not know, but because no one ever gave you the language. That is what the 12 keys are, 12 openings, in the exact order they are meant to open, ending with your mission written in a single sentence you can say out loud. This is not about becoming worthy of it, you already carry it. Every month you wait, you live a smaller version of a life that was assigned to you. The link is in the first pinned comment below. Now let the second layer rise into your awareness. The interference did not only come from people. It came through repeated atmospheres, inherited emotions, collective beliefs, and energetic contracts you accepted while trying to remain connected to those you loved. You learned to scan the face of a parent before speaking. You learned to become useful before asking for care. You learned to lower your joy when someone nearby was grieving, to hide your intelligence when your brightness threatened another person, and to apologize for needing silence. Each adaptation helped you survive a moment, but survival strategies become invisible walls when they remain active after the danger has passed. The mind says, I am being considerate, while the deeper self whispers, I am disappearing again. Here is the second revelation. Your exhaustion is often a labor of maintaining an identity that your soul never authorized. Consider the hours when you perform calm while your inner waters churn, when you agree while every cell contracts, when you explain yourself to people who have already decided not to hear you. Consider how much energy is spent proving that your perception is valid, that your boundaries are reasonable, that your dreams are not childish, and that your need for solitude is not rejection. This is the frequency drain the Pleiadian healers have observed around awakened beings on Earth. It is not always caused by work, age, or a defective body. Sometimes it is caused by the constant translation of your authentic signal into a language that makes it comfortable for everyone else. You may recognize this phase by the strange emptiness that follows social gatherings, even when nothing openly bad occurred. You return home and need darkness, water, music, or several hours without speech. You may feel another person's mood enter your body so completely that you mistake it for your own. You wake with a heavy heart after dreaming through places you have never visited. You feel guilty for leaving conversations, guilty for refusing invitations, guilty for outgrowing old friendships, and guilty even when your soul asks for rest. Yet the guilt is not guidance. It is the echo of the old program that taught you belonging must be purchased through self-abandonment. Begin observing without attacking yourself. When a feeling arrives, ask, is this mine or did I encounter it? When an obligation appears, ask, did I choose this freely or am I protecting myself from someone's disappointment? When you imagine the future, notice whether the image expands your breathing or tightens your throat. Your body is not an enemy delaying your mission. It is the instrument through which your mission becomes readable. The tightening is information. The fatigue is information. The sudden peace in the presence of one honest choice is information. Your awakening will not always arrive as light flooding the sky. Often it arrives as the quiet refusal to betray what you know. The third revelation is waiting in the moment. You stop trying to recover an identity that was never yours. Many starseeds believe they must return to the child they were before the world wounded them, but your original self is not trapped in the past like a lost photograph. It is a living frequency moving through every stage of your becoming. You do not need to imitate a younger version of yourself or recreate an ancient life from visions. You need to release the demands that forced your consciousness into a shape small enough to be approved. Beneath the obedient child, the accomplished worker, the endlessly available friend, and the spiritually informed seeker, there is a presence that does not perform. It watches. It knows. It waits without panic. This presence remembers why you came to Gaia. You did not enter this world to escape its density, and you did not come to prove that you were more evolved than humans. You came because Earth was entering a turning point, and your soul agreed to carry a stabilizing tone through the confusion. You came to experience limitation without becoming limited by it. You came to place a note of remembrance inside ordinary moments, a kinder conversation, an honest boundary, a creative work, a healing decision, a refusal to continue an inherited pattern. The mission was never hidden in a distant star system alone. It was encrypted in the way you respond when fear asks you to become cruel, numb, or false. This is why your awakening may feel less like gaining powers and more like losing tolerance for what violates the soul. You can no longer celebrate what empties you. You cannot remain comfortable inside a lie simply because it is familiar. You begin to notice how entertainment, conversation, work, and relationships affect the electrical rhythm of your body. You start choosing food, spaces, words, and companions that do not force your system to defend itself. At first, this can feel like isolation, because the old connections were built around your ability to abandon yourself. Do not mistake the clearing of false belonging for the absence of love. The empty space is being prepared for relationships that do not require you to dim the signal. There may also be a period when your memories rearrange themselves. A childhood event you dismissed returns with a new meaning. A friendship you idealized reveals the pattern you were repeating. A career you once called success begins to feel like a room without air. You may mourn years spent asleep, but do not use awakened vision to punish the one who was surviving. That earlier self made the best choices available within the information, protection, and energy it possessed. Thank that self. Release the role. Keep the wisdom. The fourth revelation is that your sensitivity is not merely a personal trait, it is a form of environmental intelligence. The Pleiadian mind does not separate intuition from reason as sharply as Earth culture often does. We observe patterns through the whole field, the body, the emotional current, the timing of events, the quality of silence, and the movement of attention. You have this capacity, but it was buried beneath overstimulation and the demand to explain everything before trusting it. Your intuition often speaks before language because it reads conditions faster than the thinking mind can build an argument. This does not mean every fear is prophecy, and the council commands discernment. A wounded nervous system can confuse danger with unfamiliarity. Old rejection can disguise itself as intuition. Exhaustion can make every request feel threatening. Your task is not to obey every sensation blindly, but to create enough inner quiet to distinguish the clean signal from the alarm. A clean signal is often simple, steady, and free of theatrical urgency. It may say, "Do not go there. Send the message tomorrow. Leave this room. Rest before deciding." The alarm tends to flood you with catastrophic images and demands immediate action to avoid imagined abandonment. With practice, you will recognize the difference. Create small places where your field can return to itself. Stand near a window before touching your devices. Walk without filling every moment with noise. Place your hands over your heart and abdomen, not to force healing, but to remind the body that is being heard. Speak the truth of your condition without building a courtroom around it. I am tired. I need space. I do not know yet. I want to choose differently. These sentences are not signs of failure. They are coordinates. Every time you honor a true coordinate, the dormant map becomes clearer. You may begin noticing synchronicities during this phase. A phrase appearing several times, a person arriving with exact timing, a dream repeating, a sudden interest in stars, ancient civilizations, healing, art, teaching, or the protection of living systems. Do not turn every coincidence into an order. Receive the pattern, then test it through peace, integrity, and practical movement. Your guides do not need you to become reckless. They need you to become available. The mission unfolds through choices that can be embodied, not fantasies used to avoid the present. And if you are still wondering whether you are truly a starseed, understand this. The question itself is less important than the quality of remembrance awakening in you. A label cannot replace a life aligned with truth. You may carry Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian, Andromedan, or many blended lineages, yet the purpose of remembering origin is not to escape Earth or place yourself above other beings. It is to recover the tone you agreed to bring here and use it with humility. The stars are not trophies. They are responsibilities. The fifth revelation is that your mission becomes visible only after you stop demanding that it arrive as a grand announcement. Many of you wait for a single vision, a miraculous sign, or a perfect assignment delivered in unmistakable words. Meanwhile, the mission is already speaking through the subjects that move you, the injustices you cannot ignore, the kind of beauty that restores your breath, and the people who feel safer after meeting you. Your path may involve healing, teaching, creating, organizing, protecting, researching, parenting, listening, building, or simply becoming the first person in your lineage to live without passing forward the wound. Do not rank these forms by how impressive they look from outside. A quiet life can carry a planetary frequency. You are not required to save everyone who recognizes your light. This is one of the most dangerous distortions placed upon awakened people. You see potential, so you overextend. You sense pain, so you take responsibility. You understand the origin of someone's behavior, so you excuse the harm it causes. You call this compassion, but compassion without boundaries becomes an agreement with unconsciousness. A person may be loved and still be left to face the consequences of their choices. You can hold a frequency without holding another person's life. You can offer a doorway without dragging anyone through it. Your presence changes others most deeply when it is not trying to change them. When you stop delivering lectures, proving your perception, and pushing people toward a timeline they have not chosen, your energy becomes less invasive and more magnetic. Those prepared to awaken will feel the permission in your example. They will see that a human being can say no without hatred, rest without apology, succeed without domination, and remain tender without becoming available to abuse. This is how frequency is anchored, not by forcing light into another nervous system, but by embodying coherence so consistently that a different possibility becomes undeniable. About 2/3 into your passage, remember that the 12 Pleiadian keys can help you name the mission that is already revealing itself through these patterns, especially when your inner knowing feels clear but difficult to express. Now observe the 6th phase, the phase of separation from borrowed destiny. There are dreams you inherited because your family needed someone to repair its image. There are ambitions you adopted because they promised protection. There are religious, social, or spiritual identities you wore because they offered a place at the table. There are goals that look beautiful until you ask who will applaud when you reach them. The awakening asks a fierce and tender question. If no one could praise me, fear me, envy me, or abandon me for this choice, would I still choose it? Do not answer quickly. Let the question move through your body over several days. Notice where your life is animated by genuine devotion and where it is powered by the fear of becoming insignificant. The Starseed mission is not always the loudest desire. Sometimes it is the responsibility that remains after every performance has fallen away. Sometimes it is the work you would continue even if it took years to be recognized. Sometimes it is the healing you keep returning to, because your freedom will become a bridge for others who share your lineage. This phase may bring practical upheaval. You may change the way you earn, the people you live with, the hours you keep, or the promises you make. The outer structure cannot always survive the inner truth. And this is not punishment. It is pressure releasing from a container that was built too small. Move with wisdom. Do not abandon basic care in the name of spiritual urgency. Pay attention to your finances, your health, your legal responsibilities, and the needs of those genuinely dependent on you. A grounded starseed is more powerful than a scattered one. The mission needs your feet, not only your visions. You will also encounter resistance, sometimes from within, and sometimes from those who benefited from your old identity. When you establish a boundary, someone may accuse you of changing. They are correct. You are changing the agreement, not betraying the person. When you become less available for chaos, chaos may become louder before it leaves. When you stop explaining, others may invent explanations. Let them. Not every misunderstanding is yours to correct. The frequency you are anchoring cannot be protected by endless argument. It is protected by consistent action. Here is the 7th revelation. The deepest activation begins when you choose alignment in a moment no one else can see. It is the decision not to send the cruel message. It is the breath you take before accepting an invitation your body rejects. It is the meal you prepare, the appointment you keep, the truth you write down, the addiction you interrupt, or the rest you allow without earning it first. The cosmic mission is tested in the invisible crossroads of ordinary life. Each choice tells your cells whether the old world still commands you. As these choices accumulate, your frequency will become less dependent on external confirmation. You will still appreciate love, community, and recognition. But you will no longer confuse applause with purpose. You will stop asking, "Does this prove that I am special?" and begin asking, "Does this serve what I came here to embody?" That question will protect you from spiritual vanity and spiritual despair alike. You are neither a powerless victim of Earth nor a superior visitor judging humanity from above. You are a participant, a bridge, and a living instrument learning how to remain clear inside a changing world. Some of you will feel an opening in the voice. Words that were locked behind hesitation will begin to emerge. You may write, teach, sing, counsel, build, design, organize, or speak a truth that gives another person permission to breathe. Others will discover that their mission is transmitted through presence rather than public expression. Do not force the form. The council does not measure volume. We measure coherence. One honest conversation can reach farther through the planetary field than 1,000 declarations made from an unhealed need to be seen. There will be days when the signal disappears and you wonder if the awakening was imaginary. This is normal within the human vessel. Frequencies integrate in waves. The body needs time to digest what the soul already understands. Sleep, grief, anger, and uncertainty may move through you after a breakthrough. Do not interpret the descent as failure. A seed does not become a tree by remaining forever above the soil. The revelation must enter muscle, schedule, relationship, and choice. Let the light become practical. When you feel disconnected again, return to the simplest recognition. You are here now, breathing within a body, standing at a threshold that did not exist before you became conscious of it. You do not need to recover every memory of the stars to act from star wisdom. You do not need permission from a distant council to honor the truth placed within you. We speak because you are ready to participate consciously, not because we wish to create dependence. The transmission is a bell, not a chain. The eighth revelation is that your true identity is not a personality made flawless. It is a frequency capable of passing through imperfection without abandoning love. You will still make mistakes. You will still become defensive, tired, jealous, confused, and afraid. Awakening does not remove your humanity. It gives you enough awareness to stop turning every human moment into a permanent identity. You can say, "I acted from fear," without deciding that you are fear. You can say, "I lost my way," without declaring the path closed. You can repair what you can, learn what you must, and return to the signal. Your mission is activating now through the way you meet yourself in those moments. Each time you refuse to create a new prison from an old mistake, the field around you opens. Each time you let another person be responsible for their own growth, your energy returns. Each time you welcome your sensitivity as an instrument instead of a defect, the ancient Pleiadian memory becomes more stable in the human body. And as that memory stabilizes, the next doorway will not ask you to become brighter. It will ask you to become more honest about where your light is already touching the earth. And now, as that light touches the earth, you are being asked to understand why this matters beyond your own comfort. Your awakening was never meant to be a private escape from difficulty, a beautiful idea that helps you feel better while the world remains unchanged. It matters because every belief you release from your body creates more room for truth in the shared field. Every time you choose presence instead of panic, discernment instead of imitation, and compassion instead of unconscious reaction, you interrupt a pattern that has traveled through families, institutions, and generations. You are not here merely to feel special, because you came from the stars. You are here to make the memory of a higher way of being available through your choices, your voice, your boundaries, your work, your relationships, and the quiet frequency you carry into places that have forgotten what peace feels like. This is why the years of confusion were not meaningless. The seasons when you questioned your identity, your direction, and even your right to exist were preparing you to recognize the difference between belonging and disappearing. You learned what happens when you abandon your inner signal to be accepted by a world that rewards performance. You learned what happens when you absorb the fear of others and call it responsibility. You learned what happens when you keep giving your life force to people who want your light, but not your truth. These lessons did not disqualify you from your mission. They gave your mission roots. A frequency that has never encountered pressure may be beautiful, but a frequency that has passed through pressure without becoming cruel becomes a living bridge for others. So hear this now as a decree carried from the Pleiadian Council through my voice to the part of you that has waited for permission to stop doubting its own existence. You were never broken, you were never late, you were never forgotten, you were never abandoned by the stars, even when the silence felt endless. You were never too sensitive for this world. You were sensitive enough to perceive what this world had not yet learned to name. You were never too lost to return. You were never too human to be sacred. You were never required to earn your place among the awakened because your place was encoded in you before your first breath touched this atmosphere. Let that decree move beneath the arguments of the mind and settle in the places where shame has been stored. You were not born behind. You did not miss the door. You did not fail because your awakening did not resemble another person's awakening. Some remember through visions, some through grief, some through an unbearable hunger for meaning, and some through the simple realization that they can no longer lie to themselves in order to remain comfortable. The form changes, but the signal is one. Your timing is not an error in the cosmic design. Your path did not begin when you found a word for it. Your path was already moving through every question, every ending, every instinct that told you there was more beneath the surface. You do not need to save humanity to serve humanity. You do not need to persuade the sleeping to open their eyes. You do not need to argue with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. A starseed does not fulfill a mission by dragging every soul toward the same doorway. You fulfill it by becoming so aligned that your presence offers a clear alternative. You show that strength can be gentle without being weak, that boundaries can exist without hatred, that discernment can be sharp without becoming judgment, and that love can release someone without abandoning the love itself. Those who are ready will feel the difference. They may not know why your words calm them, why your honesty unsettles them, or why your refusal to perform gives them courage, but the deeper part of them will recognize the frequency. There will be moments when you wonder whether anything is happening because the transformation is quiet. Do not measure your mission only by visible results. A tree does not hear the sound of its roots changing the soil. A wave does not receive applause for carrying light across the water. Your decision to remain conscious during an ordinary conversation may prevent a chain of harm you will never witness. Your choice to rest may keep you from repeating an old wound. Your willingness to tell the truth with kindness may give another person permission to stop betraying themselves. The mission often moves through what appears small because the earth is changed through countless points of contact, and you are one of those points. The identity you are remembering is not a costume from another planet. It is not a reason to reject the body, the family, the responsibilities, or the imperfect life you came here to inhabit. Your star origin becomes useful when it helps you love this world with clearer eyes. Let the memory make you more present, not less. Let it teach you to listen to the wind, to honor the body's warnings, to protect your attention, and to recognize the sacred intelligence within ordinary life. The cup of water, the honest conversation, the work completed with care, the apology offered without performance, and the boundary held without revenge can all become vessels for the frequency you came to anchor. This is the activation. It is not always lightning in the sky. It is the moment you stop waiting to feel completely fearless before you move. It is the moment you understand that courage is not the absence of trembling, but the decision to let truth lead while trembling is still present. It is the moment you stop asking whether you are allowed to be who you are, and begin asking whether your next choice agrees with the signal you carry. The stars are not demanding perfection from you. They are asking for participation. They are asking you to bring the unseen into the seen through a life that is honest enough to be felt. If you feel called to go further, the 12 Pleiadian keys, unlock the star mission, encoded in your soul, is waiting in the first pinned comment. 12 keys, in the order they open, ending with your mission in a single sentence you can say out loud. Enter it not as someone asking permission, but as someone ready to name what has been moving through their life all along. Do not approach this remembrance as another task you must complete before you can belong. Approach it as a deeper continuation of the conversation already happening within you. Let each key meet the place where a question has remained unanswered, where an old pattern has been mistaken for destiny, or where a quiet desire has been dismissed because it did not fit the identity others gave you. You are not collecting spiritual language to decorate your life. You are learning to recognize the architecture of your own calling, so that when the next decision arrives, you can meet it with a steadier heart and a clearer yes or no. The earth does not need another person pretending to be enlightened. It needs real people becoming conscious in the places where consciousness is difficult. It needs you to bring your frequency into the grocery store, the workplace, the family gathering, the hospital room, the creative project, and the private hour when nobody is watching. It needs your humanity illuminated from within, not denied. When you live this way, you become a signal that does not demand worship, obedience, or agreement. You become evidence that a person can remember the stars and still kneel gently beside the wounds of the earth. I am Adria, Pleiadian emissary, and I speak this closing seal over your path. May the false names fall away without violence. May the borrowed fears leave your field without taking your tenderness with them. May the memories that return serve wisdom rather than escape. May the people who recognize your light find courage in their own, and may the people who do not recognize it be released from your need for their approval. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be faithful to the frequency that brought you here. Now place one hand over your heart if you can, and receive the truth without negotiating with it. You are never broken. You are never late. You are never forgotten. Your sensitivity is a gateway. Your difference is not a defect. Your awakening is not a defect. Your awakening is not a fantasy you must defend to the world. It is a responsibility to live with greater awareness, greater integrity, and greater love. The mission is not somewhere far away, waiting for a future version of you. It is present in the next honest breath, the next conscious boundary, the next act of kindness, and the next time you choose remembrance over the old performance of being who you are not. If this transmission reached the hidden place in you, comment, "I remember my star origin." Then answer another soul in the comments with kindness, because someone reading your words may be standing at the edge of their own awakening and may need one human sign that they are not alone. Like this transmission so the signal can travel beyond the circles that already know these words, and subscribe to remain connected to the teachings that are still unfolding. Carry this decree gently, Starseed, but carry it consciously. The window is open, your frequency is returning, and the mission begins wherever you decide to remember.